So this is a quick video showing the Helicopters SX110 radio that I got. I get all these radios at an estate sale. So I picked the SX110 first because it seemed to be the cleanest of the bunch. Didn't do anything when I powered it up, had no noise, like no hiss coming out of it. You could hear that the audio amp was kind of working, but apart from that, it didn't do anything. So just another shot of it. It was fairly clean. So I thought it'd be a good candidate. Underneath it was all original. You can see all the original capacitors. So first thing I did was go to the Boat Anchor website and get the documentation for it. Then I got the schematic and had it printed out on a really large piece of paper and just spent a while trying to figure out how it all worked. Once I got that, the first thing I decided to do was check the tubes. So I borrowed my friend Ray's tube tester, a real nice one, and I also downloaded all the data sheets for the different types of tubes that are in it. I also built one of those inline current limiter things so that I wouldn't blow the thing up when I first powered it up. So then the next thing to do was get the voltage chart and start measuring voltages on all the tubes. I used this as a good excuse to go and buy a new fluke meter because all the junky ones I had here kept giving different results. So I took all the information from the voltage charts and started just measuring things and recording it and trying to figure out what was good and what was bad. And as I started doing it, I realized that there was a couple of spots where there was some really strange voltages, particularly on the grids to the IF section. All the stuff there in yellow was really weird. How it kept getting these 73 volts, as you can see here, 70 volts, and I was expecting to get like like 9 volts or 5 volts or something like that. So I knew something was fishy in and around here. So I started, shotgunning stuff by changing resistors and capacitors and things like that, and slowly work my way through it. Well, here we go. I'm going to take out all those old capacitors and put the new ones in. Like I did the voltage testing before, and there's some really weird stuff. Like I'm supposed to have 9 volts and I'm getting 70 volts. I'm supposed to have 15 volts and I'm getting 73 volts. And things are just nasty, and it's all in the IF part, so it kind of makes sense because the AF part is working. Like you can hear the noise and stuff. So I'm just gonna take a copy of this in case I screw something up so I can see all the capacitors that are in there. I'll take some pictures of it, and then with my new fluke meter I've been testing. And then here's all the new capacitors that are gonna go in. And I've got the power supply, the filter caps as well, but I'll hold off on that for now. So here goes. So these are just sort of the before shots, so I had a record of where all the old capacitors were in case I screwed something up. I could go back and cross-reference. And so once I had that all decided or figured out which parts I needed, then I put the order in for the new capacitors. My order of capacitors came in today from Just Radio Capacitors. So we're gonna, I'll put those in, check the voltages again, and then I got a whole bunch of resistors that they had on sale, which seemed like a pretty good deal. And I got my helper here. So it's kind of funny. Here's the first one. The Tiny Chief 1 microfarad is replaced by this little tiny thing here, which is like actually 630 volts. That's just all the old capacitors I took out. Well, I replaced all the capacitors, and the audio amp, which had no voltage before, is now working. But all the other voltages are way too high. Like there's 90 volts on the cathode. So the only thing left to replace is that filter capacitor, the silver can. So I've got my hole here. I'm gonna put a terminal strip in here, tie them back to this ground. And then after I do that, I give up. Then I'm gonna have to ask for help, because every resistor I check tests okay, and all the capacitors except for the ceramic fixed ones and the variable ones have been replaced. So I'm running out of parts to replace, so I'll keep you posted. Just a couple more shots of all the capacitors that were replaced out, and like I mentioned, the only thing I kept were those brown ceramic ones and the ceramic variable capacitors for the tuning section. Well, I replaced the filter caps with brand new ones. Unfortunately, I'm still getting my first IF, and I'm supposed to be getting like 9 volts here. I'm getting 70. I'm still getting 70. And on this one, in 5, I'm supposed to get 9 volts. I'm getting 71. Nothing's changed. And same on this one here. I'm supposed to be getting 5 volts on pins 3 and 5, and I'm getting like 70.4. 73, 73. So I don't know, it's gotta be a tube. Okay, well, as I mentioned, I did everything. I replaced the filter capacitors and literally every other capacitor. And I'm putting it around here and I still can't figure it out. So I found a table for another radio, the SX90 something. But it has the same, it's the same radio, just different panel. And it has resistance readings. This is from a Sam's thing. But so I started poking around doing the resistance readings and things just weren't working right. And after fooling around with it, I did some testing on the sensitivity knob for the AVC, and it's dead, like completely dead. Between the two terminal, the center terminal and the pot, it's wide open. There's nothing going on. So it's an open circuit. So if you look at the diagram for that pot, the 10K pot here, where is it? Right there. If there's no resistance here, it's open, and when it's open, it's in standby. So all of these lines here that I'm getting my 70 volts on, I'm getting 70 volts up there because there's nothing drawing them down to ground. There's no 10K pot to adjust the sensitivity. So I'm really hoping that's what's wrong with this, because I tell you, this is a lot harder to do in real life than it is to watch these guys on YouTube. But I'll run out and get a pot tomorrow, and hopefully I've got this radio fixed. So I couldn't find that the pot with a switch on the back. So I did a pot. I got the pot and I put this to switch here for now. And so what I've done so far is replaced every single capacitor and like probably 15 resistors, the power resistors here, the cans, like the electrolytic capacitors, and it's never worked. It didn't make any noise. And now that I've done this one change here and fixed this $3 potentiometer, check this out.
I'm Alan Folgett from Sobeys. There are many reasons to shop Sobeys. For instance, if we see more than 2 customers in one line, we open another cache. Plus, we always have great weekly specials. This week at Sobeys. By the way, I enjoy listening to you very much.
Well, it hasn't been aligned yet, but it works.
I heard you say that you were making preparations so that you could lay yours down. You were waiting. I don't know that I'm going to go that far to lay them down, but I would like to be able to unhook them before they come into the house. You know, just throw the coax back or something, so that it's not connected to the line coming in. So I'm going to have to do something in regards to lightning protection as well, Bill, over. Vision in Congress, the Republicans on one side, the Democrats on the other. Me, the logical solution.
Okay, that's the last one. W1AW on 80 meters. Haven't even aligned it yet.
32. 0.219 north and west and the small group, KY1YVOL.
So this is just the bottom. It seems like a real shame, but I gotta pull that Hallicrafter sticker off in order to align it, but I'll do that at a later time. Well, that's it for that one. I'm gonna align it, clean the knobs and things, and then move on to these two here. SX130 and an HT37 transmitter.